Coming up next on Avid Achievers, I'll be talking with Jordan Hawkins about her professional basketball career. Hello, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Jennifer, the host of Avid Achievers, and joining me today is Jordan Hawkins, a Glen Burnie High School alumni. Jordan, thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk with us today.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here today.
So, how long have you been playing basketball?
Right now I'm going into my 6th season playing pro basketball.
That's awesome. And as a youth, when did you start?
I actually started when I was 8 years old. I started playing at Upward Basketball, so it was like a church league, and it just went from there.
Nice. Why is it one of your passions?
It's one of my passions because it was definitely a great escape when everything, was going bad or having a bad day or I was sad. I knew I could always go on the court. I knew I could go practice, go shoot, and I knew all my worries, all the stresses I had, even with school or home, just all went away when I'm on the basketball court.
Okay. And was there ever a time like growing up, either like for a community team, a travel team, your high school, college team, that you were like, I don't know if I want to keep playing?
I never had that. I think as soon as I started playing when I was 8 years old, and then when I started doing travel basketball when I was 12, like I knew from there, like I wanted basketball as my career and I was going to play pro basketball. I never had anything in my mind or no doubt in my brain and being like, I could not do it. I wanted to do it, and I was like, I said to myself, I will do it.
That is so awesome. Were you ever like injured during any of your times? Because I know sometimes like injuries can be setbacks.
Well, knock on wood for a second, knock on wood. Well, I actually is coming back from an injury. So right now, I was actually injured through this past year. I had an eye injury. So I had like a retinal detachment. It was something in my family that was like going passed down to different generation. I got it very early because of playing, contact sport like basketball. And I pretty much played like a good season with like only one eyeball because
Wow.
my right eye, I couldn't see out my right eye. So this summer I actually had to have surgery on my right eye to fix it so I can have sight in my eye because I wasn't ready to be blind at 27.
Oh my gosh. So it was the surgery a success?
Oh yes, it was definitely a success. Right now, I've been just being cleared to actually do everything and like be able to go, do everything with the basketball and everything like that and stuff. So right now, I'm back in the training and getting myself ready to go back overseas. So it was just the rough part was literally, you know, because like I didn't like my legs working, my arms working. It was just my eye, and with my eye is such our eyes are so a delicate organ, so any slight movement could like do really bad for your eye and like burst your eye and cause no eyesight. So for like months I could not do anything. I couldn't run. I couldn't even walk. I remember for like the first 10 days, I literally stayed in my bed the whole time. Stayed in my
Wow.
bed face down to the side, and I could not move.
Oh my gosh. Well, I am glad that the surgery was a success and that, you had that perseverance to get through all of these challenges. That's amazing. Now, the last time I really saw you was in 2014 when you graduated from Glen Burnie High School. And if I remember correctly, you had a full ride to a college for basketball.
Yes.
And what college did you attend?
I attended Wilmington University, but then I ended up transferring from Wilmington University to actually Assumption College. Well, it's now it's university because I realized Wilmington, it wasn't a bad school. It just wasn't the right fit for me, not like basketball wise, but educational wise. They didn't have like a traditional college setting with the dorms and all that stuff. And I wanted that. And for like my college education. So that's why I decided to transfer to go to Assumption.
So if they didn't have dorms, where did you live? And did they have like at least a like a place to eat on campus?
I actually pretty much ended up living on my own. So me and a couple of my other teammates that were on the basketball team, we all ended up renting out in like it was a townhouse. We ended up renting out a townhouse in the area that was close to the school. That was close to not even the school. It was close to the gym because the weird thing about Wilmington, it wasn't no one campus. It was just a bunch of satellite campuses, but they were considered a school. So like we was like 5 minutes from the gym, and then you had to drive another 10 minutes down the road, and you would be at the main campus. And then if you had a class that wasn't the main campus, you had to drive another 10 to 15 minutes to go to the other campuses. And at that time, I also didn't have my driver's license. So it was like very hard. I had to rely on my teammates or even just get Ubers to like drive me to classes. And I was just like, I shouldn't have to get that way to do it. And like I would say with the food, they didn't really have a cafeteria, but they had a place you can buy food, like if you wanted like a restaurant.
Okay. So, you're right. It is really important that you feel at home with any college that you're going to attend. And I'm really glad that, you didn't like try and push through it, that you're like, you know what, this isn't for me. I'm going to look for another place. And were you happy with your second choice?
Oh yes, I definitely am happy with my second choice. Like I would say, in I appreciate Wilmington because it was like the first college to ever give me a scholarship to play basketball. So I definitely appreciate the coaching staff and the people there. But finishing up at Assumption, you know, not only I had a pretty good college career for basketball wise, but just in my education and like figuring out what I wanted to do, especially after basketball. I was very, and then also, I met one of my bestest friends ever, in college. So, and I was glad even to meet her.
That's awesome. Now, you were an excellent student at Glen Burnie High School, and you were taking like physics classes. You really challenged yourself. So, how did you like finish up at college, and what major did you pursue?
Well, it's crazy enough because when I was in high school, I always thought like I wanted to become a doctor. I wanted to become a sports doctor. I always wanted to stay in the realm of sports because I loved sports, and I wanted to become in the medical field. But then with taking physics and taking chemistry and biology, I was like, yeah, I could do this. I couldn't be a
But
scientist.
you did so well. I mean, you excelled in those classes.
I know I did, but I just knew it was like going to college and you had to take labs and all that stuff. And with that, and plus with the basketball schedule and how much they put you a lot with the basketball because you have practices, weightlifting, film, coaches meetings, all that stuff. I was like, no. But like one of the things I've always been good at, even ever since high school, was math. I love math. Like I love numbers, everything like that. But I knew I didn't want to be an accountant. I didn't want to like sit in a cubicle and be an accountant. So I actually went into economics, which pretty much is like, using the math and numbers and research that you use and pretty much explain it in words. And you can pretty much use it at anything. A lot of people who have economic degrees, they go into the federal government or work in banks and stuff. Me, I want to work in the sports and hopefully, right after I finish playing basketball, go into law
Nice.
and using that. And you're always fascinated with that, especially when free agency, NFL free agency, NBA free agency. That was something I was always interested in as a kid. And I just, I felt like, my degree program, economics, definitely helped me in like being like, yeah, this is where I want to go to.
That's great. Now, I have a question because I don't really know if a lot of students who say, "Oh, I want to play professional ball," know how to get there. So, were your college coaches helping you, or how were you able to make the transition of graduating college and then going overseas to play? What did you have to do?
Well, when I wanted to play professional basketball. I knew I wanted to, and I was going to figure out the way. I went to like the coaches to try to get an answer, but I knew they really didn't have an answer for me how to go overseas. So luckily for me, I actually had two parents who played professional ball. So my mother, she played professional basketball in Japan and France, and my father played professional football in the NFL in Canada. So I pretty much asked them to help, asked around. I asked more coaches that I knew, college coaches that I knew. I asked like my former college coach from my first school, and she was able to help me and being like, you need to like how to build a basketball resume, get film out, make a highlight tape. And she gave me names of different agents. And then, I also researched it online, gone on the FIBA website of finding, FIBA certified agents. And
What does FIBA stand for?
FIBA is the International Federation of Basketball.
Okay.
So it's like if you want to get an agent for like for FIBA basketball agent, they should be FIBA certified. And what that means is it's like, there's terms in under FIBA that they can or cannot do for you. So like I don't know if it's in now, but like when I first started for a FIBA certified agent, they can only take 10% of your contract. Like the money they get, it's only
Okay.
10% of it. So when they offer you a contract, they usually only be able to take 10% of the money. But that was when they was able to get you a contract for it, and that's under law. Like they couldn't like try to up you or nothing like that. So yeah, and I just went just emailing different agents, and I was able to find like my first agent and sign my first agent literally right after I graduated college.
That's awesome. So you got an agent, and they take 10% of what you make playing basketball. Is that right?
Yeah, but actually the team. So what happened is, so my agent, he found me a team, like my first agent found me a team, and then like the team has to pay the agent 10% of the contract they was going to give me. So it's let's like put like a hypothetical number like 2,000. So 2,000, they're going to pay me 2,000 a month, and then they 10% of the 2,000 they have to pay to the agent.
Okay.
But it's
And
like
what team?
separate, so it doesn't cut in my salary.
Oh, that's good. Okay. All right. And what team did you first play for?
My first team I first played for, I was in Serbia. I was in Serbia. I played in like a team called ZKK Kraljevo. It was in a little city called Kraljevo, Serbia. I remembered it was like walking from one end to the other end. It was like literally a 15-minute walk. Um, it was a cool experience because it was also, we played in the first league Serbian league, but then we also played in the international basketball league called the WABA. So it was the Women's Adriatic League. So we played all like the teams that were used to be because that area of Eastern Europe used to be called Yugoslavia.
Okay.
So it used to be Yugoslavia. Now they just call it the Adriatic region now. So we would play teams all over the Adriatic region at that time.
And how many, like just all of your teams in general, how many players come from like different countries, or is there like a solid core group from the country that you're playing for and then they just have additions from others?
It honestly depends. It depends on like which country and also which league you're in. So I have been in countries and in leagues where like I would say my third year, I had teammates. I had teammate. I was in Germany, so I had domestic teammates. So the Germans, I had German teammates, but then I also had American teammates. I also had Greek teammates, and I also had teammates from Argentina all on one team. But then I've also been on teams where, like, I've been on teams where, like, in Spain, everybody is Spanish, and I'm the only American.
Do you speak
So,
Spanish?
nope. I always tell people because they were thinking I'd be oh, you're bilingual. I always say I speak to get around. I speak to survive. I'm by survival.
Okay, so you don't speak any like foreign language fluently.
Yeah, not fluently. I speak it to survive.
Okay, and just like, do you have Google Translate and stuff like that to help?
Oh yeah, Google Translator has worked wonders. But then also it's like cool. It's great that a lot of like especially the young people in a lot of those countries. It's funny because like a lot of them they've been learning English since they got into school, like they got into grade school, like how like here in America you have like we have Spanish classes and French classes, they have English classes. So it's like a lot of them, especially like because like on some teams you have we have girls that are in high school. They love it when us as foreigners come because they're like, OMG, I can practice my English with you so I can be better at speaking English.
That's wonderful. I love that. How many different teams did you say you've been on?
Ooh, that's hard to count.
Okay,
That
what
is
are some of like the top ones that stand out at least?
okay. Well, I could tell you the countries I've played in.
Okay.
Let's see.
Okay.
So I would say my first year I was in Serbia and Romania. My second year I was in Greece and Romania. Third year I started in Romania, ended in Germany. My fourth year, I was started in Spain, ended in Australia, and then my fifth year, I was in North Macedonia.
Wow. That is a lot of places. So, did you decide to switch, or can coaches trade players? How does that work for you moving around?
Well, typically in overseas basketball world, like the contracts are usually a 1 year contract. So it's not like a multi-year contract. It's very rare you will see a player stay on the same team for a long time unless like they have a good relationship with that team and that organization. Like a lot of like players, if they do like multi-year contracts, they may do like a contract called a 1+1. So it's a contract where they get a year contract for the season, and then for the next season it's almost like a team option. Like if you do well on the first year, okay, we'll give like you can have a second year with us type deal. So like usually a lot of people only do like the season by season contracts and pretty much we move around.
Okay. So when you're over there, are you provided housing and like a meal stipend, or do you have to pay for everything?
Well, one of the things, like usually, typically, every overseas contract have is they pay for your flight, your round trip ticket, and also they pay for lodging, so they pay for either apartment, house, whatever. They pay for that. Depending on the team, they pay for your food, so you get like 2 free meals a day. It depending on where you're at, and then also depending on when you at, they actually also give you free transportation, so they can also give you a car.
Oh, nice. Do you have your
Yeah.
license now?
Oh yes, I do.
Good.
I had to. I had to, and it's crazy because I remember going to Australia, and I didn't realize that in Australia they drive on the opposite side of the road. So
Mhm.
that was so interesting, learning how to drive on the opposite side of the road. And then after that, coming back here, and like, so I was driving on the left side of the road for like 6 months in Australia, and now I'm back driving on the right side of the road. And it was just, I had to, like, my brain was so jumbled up.
I bet. And speaking of like, challenges, what would you say overall would be some of the biggest benefits that you've received, like personally or like professionally, from being overseas and having this different lifestyle?
I would just say, for me, I think the biggest benefit I have gotten just being overseas and being around different people and different cultures is just keeping open mind, like open mind of everything and all that stuff. And it's just like, you know being living in America, like, all my life I always had like this, American mindset, believing, United States is better than everybody else, and blah blah blah. And like just going to different countries and like seeing their lifestyles and just being open to it, and just like not being afraid to try new things. And I felt like, that was like the big beneficial to me. And it's just like when coming back home, just having a very new perspective of different things around here. So
That's
that's what I learned from being overseas.
That's wonderful. And with your schedule, like I get you guys have a preseason where you're practicing for a while before the actual season starts. So
Yeah.
how long are you in any one country, like for basketball?
For basketball, it depends on the length of the season, but typically it's between 6 to 8 months.
Okay. And then what's your typical schedule like when you're there and it's like the height of basketball season, as far as like workouts and ch- like, do you have to travel to other cities and countries to play against teams? Like, describe that lifestyle during the season.
Okay. Well, typically, I'll go based on like my previous season in North Macedonia. So like every morning, I would get up in the morning time, and I will automatically, go to the weight room to either lift weights or do some cardio. And then if the gym is open, I would go to the gym and like start doing a shooting workout just to get some shots up. After that, I just, would go eat. And then, I love taking naps because I be loving taking naps. I love a good nap. I would go take a nap, wake up, and then like I'll have practice for at least like a couple hours, hour and a half. And then after that, I'll be back home. And and during that time, that would probably like late at our the night, and that would be like afternoon here, so I'll be like talking to my peoples back home.
That's great. Um, and when you're playing against other teams, do you ever have to travel to a different country or is it just different cities within the country? How does that work?
Oh yes, I have traveled to different countries. I have traveled to different cities. It's I would say like it's not. It's honestly my least favorite part of playing overseas is like the traveling, because me, I'm a 6'2" woman. So sitting in a car, even if it's a coach bus, or even if it's just a minivan or something like that, it's very it's not good on legs. It's not good on legs. And then like traveling on the day of, going from the day of, and then playing that day, legs are tired, and you just got to take a lot to sit there and stretch and like move around and everything like that. So you know I've did all the traveling. I would say that's like kind of like the worst part about being overseas is like the away games. Like I wish every game was home.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So, what would you give any? What advice would you give any high school student or college student that really wants to play professional ball, and they're like, okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and try my shot at doing it overseas.
I would say my best advice is that it's to like those people that want to do it is like, if that's what you want to do, if that's your passion, then go for it. Go all in. I know like for me personally, you know, ever since I was a little kid, I always wanted to be a professional basketball player. I always wanted to do it. But I've always had a lot of people that told me no, don't do it. They told me like, you're a smart girl, just stay in school and all that stuff. And it's like, yes, I am a smart girl. Like, yes, I'm really good at school, but like I want to play. And it's just, keep your head in the grind and just keep on going and grinding and doing it. Don't listen to the naysayers. And then always, and also my one advice is to always have fun. Cause it's like as soon as like, basketball or anything you do, if you do not have any joy of it, like it's not going to be worth it. You're going to be ending up being miserable. And me, I still have joy of playing basketball. I still love the game. I feel like a little kid on the court every time I play. So that's why I'm still playing.
That is wonderful advice, Jordan. And I am so happy to see your face and to talk to you. It's been 10 years. Oh my goodness.
I
Wow.
know. It's been like it's crazy. It's like it's been like cuz like I graduated high school like 2015. I'm like, "Oh, 10 it's like it's about to be 10 years
Yeah,
since
that's
that."
crazy. But I am so happy that you took time out of your schedule to join us today and to share your story because I honestly think that it's wonderful. So thank you very much.
No, thank you. Thank you for giving me the platform to tell my story.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today on this episode of Avid Achievers. And remember, don't be afraid to follow any of your opportunities because you never know where they might land.